Steve Jobs had said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. It's to ensure that the growth is happening with unit economics being intact, profitability being not compromised, or there is a path to profitability that is being established. So it would take care of both. We kind of prefer employees wearing casual wears, which are preferably for them TSS clothes, the sole store clothes, the channels. We importantly monitor the store P&L and ensure that every store is able to contribute to the P&L. So LTV to CAC is the ratio that we usually track, and that's an important metric to track.
Hey, welcome back to the next episode in CopaTalks, the ultimate CFO podcast brought to you by Bluecopa. Here, we bring you unfiltered access to conversations with veteran finance leaders covering key milestones and challenges in their journey through stories. For today's episode, we are speaking with Chirag Mavani, the CFO of The Soul Store, one of the largest D2C brands in India. The Soul Store is a modern D2C brand in the fashion and apparel industry. Founded in 2013 by four friends, the brand rose to fame with its modern designs and pop culture references. In their 11 years of existence, the company has always been profitable and is currently valued at 2,000 crores. Join us as we chat about his youth, early roles, joining and scaling TSS to 500 CR in revenue, all the while being profitable. Let's go.
Glad to be on this show. Thanks for having me.
Lovely, great. So as with all the other episodes, we would love to start with your early days story, right? So how about you give us some sneak peek into what were you doing when you were so young, and how did you get into finance?
Guru, honestly, I never wanted to actually pursue finance. In fact, in my school days or till my 10th standard results, I was always kind of aspiring to pick up engineering as an option.
Oh,
So one of the reason, by the way, was I used to do that was to stay away. When I used to look at the curriculum of the CA course, and have a look at the books of financial management, taxation, or cost accounting. Those were like gigantic books, and the low success percentage in CA exams was just enticing enough, to kind of shy away from the course. But I attended few council sessions post my board exams, and then I kind of realized that the interest is more or less aligned towards finance, and eventually I decided to kind of pursue chartered accountancy and company secretary, and
was there like a peculiar incident or a person that flipped you towards finance, given the story that you just mentioned?
So like I mentioned, I was always a little bit wary about the kind of curriculum and the books that we had to kind of study in the CA course. But then after I spoke, like my father is from the finance background. He is a chartered accountant. I had few more chartered accountants in the family as well, and I kind of had a chat with them and understood how the entire kind of FIRE course would kind of shape up the career, and then how is the opportunity going to be in that particular space 5 years from then. So that all kind of things helped me kind of take a decision on that this is what is going to be more practical as compared to my whimsical wish of engineer.
Got it. And right after college, did you start working? Was it CIPLA the first organization you were a part of?
Yeah, so after my curriculum, after my CA course, CIPLA was the first employment I had kind of got in corporate. So I was actually thrilled, to have joined this large pharma company. Back then, that being my first job, was filled with exuberance, charged with to make something big. But after a few months, I realized that the working in a large organization where the processes are more or less already aligned and set, you're going to be doing a very restricted work there. And the scope to develop and reflect upon your creativity or was little constrained there. So I started getting a sense of like being a small fish in the big pond, and nothing to do any kind of discredit to supply here. But Steve Jobs had said the only way to do great work is to love what you do.
Yeah.
And that I felt, I mean, I was not loving the job which I was doing because I was restricted to do few specific things there, and I just felt like I wanted to take up larger roles, which wasn't, obviously you can't expect everything to come in the first job, but then that was the thing which I was expecting to do because I was pumped with a lot of energy then, as it was the start of my corporate journey. So then I decided to quit that company, and I took up an opportunity in an organization which was going through a liquidity crunch, but
Mm-hmm.
I got an opportunity in the business strategy group there,
Got
and
it.
and, and that role was very exciting for me. I kind of it was slightly different from typical finance and accounts. Uh, the role in strategy group allowed me to kind of set up a foundation for the business finance and the analysis that the FNA guy would kind of typically do. So I started handling investor relationships in that particular organization, and that entire journey was very enterprising for me. And that is where I developed the forte for this investor relationships along with the finance and accounts. So
Got
yeah,
it.
so that's how kind of I started my journey with.
Understood. So I'm going to go slightly off topic or probably deviate from a thought process. So from what you mentioned, right, should is it safe for me to assume that the folks who are venturing into finance today, it's best for them to look for an organization that's probably not so process sorted or process ready, and who's in the early stages, who's not figured things out because the learning is more? Or would you say, you are a fresher, you are someone who's just starting the working in the organization, so it's best for you to get a glimpse of how things work as a process oriented organization, and then move on to a startup? So which of these two works?
There is no right or wrong here, Guru. It will depend on person to person and case to case. So I had after that organization where I was in the strategy group, I joined in smaller size companies like Ananta and Repro Books, and then the Soul Store. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in all of these organizations, I was more like a founding member of the finance and accounts team, uh,
Mm.
and I kind of developed this uncanny knack of building in processes right from scratch, and I
Got it.
enjoyed that. So it became a passion for me. It is another kind of a skill set that you need to possess. If you enjoy that, you can kind of work around it and kind of will start loving getting into more and more such kind of tasks. But some of them, I completely respect people who would love to kind of work with with companies where the processes are designed to the T, and they would like kind of just follow those and kind of stick to those set processes. So there's no specific answer to in the form of right or wrong here. It would depend. It would differ person to person, case to case.
Right. Understood. Got it. And so the strategy roles that you started doing at Ananta and other organizations, right? So how did your day look like, and what kind of challenges were thrown at you? Just curious about that.
So, like the in the small size companies, nothing is organized. So everything you'll have to do it from scratch. You'll set up a process right for the payables, basic things like how the payables need to flow in, how the receivables needs to be tracked in, how the reconciliation exercise needs to be carried out. All of those things you will set in a process, and then you will just need to ensure that the processes are robust enough to take care of unwarranted situations, and you will start monitoring those. So maybe 6 to 9 months would be in setting up those things, and then another 6 months to kind of review those, and then over a period of 1.5 year, you'll see things have kind of then started falling in place, and that's where you feel a lot of accomplishment has taken place, and that's a very satisfying part, by the way. So because you see things now getting aligned for the first time in that very company.
Understood. And you also mentioned that you are part of the investor relations, right? Was
That's
that
correct.
specifically for that particular organization because
No, so
liquidity?
that after that it's been throughout. So because you can't afford to have a separate IR team in a small size to mid size company. So since then, so yeah, I've been taking care of IR, the investor relationship part as well. So though there would be it would be backed with the promoter and the founder as well, because they are the one do the storytelling, but the financial data and the backup is completely serviced to the finance and accounting.
Got it. Got it. Again, a very amateurish question here. Uh,
Sure.
since you mentioned that all these roles come under the umbrella of business finance, right?
Yep.
Can you sort of explain what the role exactly is? Because beyond a certain scope, people are not able to fully comprehend what business finance brings to the table, right? So, yeah.
So, so the role for me has been a combination of business finance, accounts, finance controllership, and even to a level of also brings in the investor relationship aspect in it. So,
Mhm.
what I mean by business finance is the uh, uh, corporate finance part, which would include your MIS, which would include your banking and relationship with banks, investor relationships, and also the budgeting and forecasting piece.
Got it.
So this is typically what would kind of encompass in the business finance role.
Got it. So, in a sentence, could we say that the objective of business finance team is to ensure the growth of the business or to the cash flow of the business?
Both. It's to ensure that the growth is happening with unit economics being intact, with profitability being not compromised, and or there is a path to profitability that is being established. So it would take care of both.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So, moving on from all the organizations, when did the Soul Store happen?
After this passion to kind of start up things from scratch,
Yeah.
which was in the which was in the companies like Ananta and Repro.
Yeah.
Uh, I what happened is, I absolutely started adoring the craftsmanship involved in this entire exercise,
Mm-hmm.
and I found this journey very exciting. Exciting as well as extremely delirious to say, because every industry has its own nuance,
Yeah.
and to set up things from scratch makes you reflect on all the subtle aspects of which are very industry specific, and that is very exciting for me. That was very interesting for me, and that's when I came across this opportunity of Soul Store. So Ananta was in the IT sector, the Repro was into the distribution of books on through e-commerce platforms, and then I came across this opportunity with the Soul Store, which was fashion and apparels, again in e-commerce industry. I and while kind of evaluating this opportunity, that's so important because you need to be a little bit wary while dealing with such opportunities, because in startups a lot of things revolve around the founders and the unit economics, especially when it comes to D2C company. So all these boxes were ticked when it came to Soul Store. The founders have a great humble background, and kind of striving a lot to deliver. The Soul Store has been profitable right from day one. So all these boxes were ticked, and yeah. So I just kind of when I got the opportunity, I just decided happily to kind of take it over and start from there. And it's been now 5 years. The journey has been exhilarating.
No, no, I truly agree. From a marketing parlance, a great story really sells, and the founders have a fantastic story. I've heard some of their interviews as well. Very humble folks, like you mentioned. Again, a very humorous question here. So, what's the dress code like at office?
So every employee is expected to wear something which allows them to feel cool
Uh huh.
and at their best.
Got
See,
it.
I'll tell you, look, you spend almost 8 to 10 hours in corporate office,
Yeah.
so it's like a second home, in my view.
Yeah.
So, and if an individual is expected to spend around 8 to 10 hours, that is a good significant amount of time. So, it's best for an employee to feel at ease in this 8 to 10 hours so that they can give out their best. So we kind of prefer employees wearing casual wears, which are preferably for them TSS clothes, the Soul Store clothes. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, we kind of happy to you'll see people with oversized t-shirts. You'll see people with like this is a Soul Store dress.
Yeah.
So we have all now that we have so many categories. It's very easy to pick up a soul store uh,
Correct.
dress and kind of feel comfortable with that. So, and in
Correct.
fact, we take a lot of pride in oversized t-shirts as well because that's something which we have brought in the name and fame to that category across the country. So uh,
Mhm.
we take a lot of pride in kind of in the oversized t-shirts as well.
Understood. And so within the Soul Store, how does your day look like? What sort of challenges are you overseeing right now?
Uh, so now as I mentioned, it's been over 5 years now, and
Mm.
there's been a lot of evolution and transformation over the course of 5 years.
Okay.
Today, the focus is to ensure that we continue doing the right things as we expand across categories, new products, and segments.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of emphasis now is to ensure that we are able to kind of launch a new product or category with the unit economics being intact, uh, profitability not being compromised. We also, when we expand across the offline stream, which is through stores and other channels,
Yeah.
we importantly monitor the store P&L and ensure that every store is able to contribute to the P&L. Because we don't want that, that in the quest of the growth, profitability takes a backseat. So our focus is now to scale and to do it along with certain guardrails around it. So that's the focus. Along with that, for the finance and accounts, it's important to uh, also ensure that enough emphasis is there on the compliance and the regulatory affairs because now with so many stores around like our stores are across pan India. So
Mm.
we have now multiple GST registrations, multiple state laws to kind of adhere to, and our focus is to ensure that we comply and fulfill all the norms that are applicable to us now.
Yeah.
That's the way the current focus is.
Got it. So zooming into that new product launch activity, right? So if there's like a checklist of things that the finance team and you sort of do before a particular launch, let's say oversized tea of a particular category, right? So how what are those checklist items that the finance teams fulfill?
So now, typically, whenever we launch a new product, we kind of monitor on several parameters. One of them being, what are the returns and the exchanges happening for that particular new product. Because typically, when you launch a new product, you will see a slightly larger return rate there.
Mm.
Uh, but the return rates, impacts you uh, it's a double whammy. So what happens is when there's a return of the product, your not only the sales is reversed, but then there is a double logistics cost that you need to incur. There's a higher packaging cost that you incur because you've kind of shipped the goods and you get it back, but there is nothing in the form of revenue that you recognize.
Yeah.
So it's important to kind of track that and then decipher the unit economics of the newly launched product.
Right.
And that's what is a key attribute that finance would kind of factor in, or even the other data team would kind of factor in to kind of ensure that how is the performance of this new product, be it oversized t-shirt, be it shirt, be it uh, a denim, or be it any kind of a
Yeah.
product. But that's something which we kind of monitor because that's going to be impacting you in the long run in the form of lower returns, which would ensure that higher profitability, higher margins across that particular category and product.
Got it. I think well put. So the return rate is primarily the key indicator or contributor to how the margins look like.
True. So return is one of the great significant contributor.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, you need to definitely like what's most important thing is the repeats. In a D2C organization, the most important parameter is the repeats because
Mm.
generally you'll spend a lot of amount on acquiring a customer, and if you don't get those repeats, your lifetime value of the customer narrows down, and that's detrimental to the P&L because you have spent the money to acquire a customer, which we call CAC,
Yeah.
And that, if you're not able to kind of spread across or leverage across through over a larger repeats from that same particular new acquired customer, you are not going to make good inroads on the profitability. So LTV to CAC is the ratio that we usually track, and that's an important metric to track. Return is definitely an important thing, but the repeat cohorts are even more important. So that would kind of, you will be able to gauge the repeat metrics over a period of time, maybe 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months period. Uh, but the return ratio is something that you focus on immediately when you launch the product.
Understood. Perfect. And with regards to the compliance and the regulatory part of things, again, with the offline stores, GST and everything, again, all of this is handled by the team.
Yeah, so so we have a now it's a fairly established, well-established team that now we have. So earlier there was a lot of things that were outsourced. Now it's a combination of outsource and in-house, but most of the things have now been brought in-house because as you kind of grow, you start developing team, and you have a good sizable uh, team with resources focusing on specific aspects now within the team.
Understood. Since you've scaled this from 0 to 1, right? Help me understand how do you generally go about building this team? What sort of hiring philosophy do you have? What sort of skill sets do you look for? How do you build the whole team around your skill set and required for this whole store operations? Just a high level idea of, okay, this is how I generally make my decisions with regards to building the team.
So, like when 5 years back, the thought process was to build in a team with minimal people around, where you just ensure that the basic things are managed well, like the payables, the tracking of receivables, and the working capital management. And then once you kind of achieve a certain particular threshold, like you cross 100, 200 cr, you
Mhm.
start building in more, start building in a team with some few more activities to take up, where you will start addressing GST aspect, you will start addressing TDS aspect, you will start addressing on in-house, and then start kind of looking at compliance and regulatory as well, bring in everything in-house. uh, that's the way you kind of structure this thing, and then you also need to add in more people to kind of reconcile stuff, like uh, marketplaces reconciliation, to name one that we have. So because now with higher volumes, the numbers also increase across each stream, right? So you'll have that much larger revenue on the marketplaces, you'll have that much larger revenue on stores. So the store P&L now requires a dedicated team to track. Now you need a dedicated team to track the online D2C platform. So that's how you kind of start building up the team.
Mhm. Mhm. Got it. Great. And just another follow up on this whole space. You mentioned that there's a lot of offline stores as well, right? And
That's correct.
I know that the presence of soul stores is across, there's direct sales happening from the website. There's online marketplaces like your Mintra and other fashion marketplaces. And then you have your offline stores as well now in across India.
That's correct.
So across these three or even more channels, right? What seems to be working for Soul Store, and is it a common trend across all of Indian e-commerce, or at least fashion and apparel to be considered? Because I see a lot of companies going this omni-channel approach, but are not able to sustainably manage things. Since Soul Store is profitable, there should be some insight that you folks should be able to offer.
So it's a great question, Guru, and I think I'll just take some time to kind of explain this. I'll just kind of give you a background how this has kind of evolved for us. So back when we started this organization, the 100% of the revenue would come from our own channel. When I say own channel, it's an online D2C platform, our own website, and our application.
Yeah.
Uh, and then as we grew, we started expanding into the offline front, where we started opening up stores. We started doing online marketplaces, which is Amazon, Flipkart, because and now with the brand recall which was already there in the customer's mind, it was easier for us to scale on these new channels. And also, what happened is that we were conscious when we kind of started opening up stores, we wanted to kind of offer this Omni platform to our customers now. So if you go to our, if you go to our platform, we have a capability to kind of allow the customer to buy online and return it offline, buy offline, return it online. So that's the capability which we wanted to build on, and that's the thought process that we have as we are kind of scaling up on stores. And now today, our stores and our own platform deliver more or less similar kind of margins across India, right? So it's not that you will get more revenue, because one thing that we have ensured is that we have a complete price parity across all the platforms, be it marketplaces, be it offline stores, be it our own platform on the Soul Store website or the mobile application that you have. You will not see a price difference at all, and that's where we have made this kind of made our customers feel indifferent whether you shop it from here or there. You're going to get the same price. So exclusive members would definitely prefer shopping it with through our own website.
Yeah.
We get the benefits of prioritized as well as discounts on the products every time they shop. So that's how we kind of build this entire thing, and that's where we kind of have been doing this successfully, and that's what I feel many of the other players have kind of faltered on.
Got it. Got it. And with regards to Soul Store, what's the future looking like? What are your next plans?
We definitely, the future looks to be great, because the fact is, the I if I go back, the founders have adopted an approach of relentlessly striving in for quality
Yeah.
and the first approach. So this culture has set in right from the very beginning of the journey for the Soul Store, and even today in all our leadership discussions, we continue to very heavily address the requirements from the customers' perspective, and that I feel is very distinguishing factor for the Soul Store to emerge on the top over all other players in this category or in this segment.
Yeah.
So as a testament to this, today the Soul Store has the best repeat rates in the industry, lowest returns in the industry, and that, in my view, is incredible. Because that's a reflection which is coming straight from the customers. A D2C company is a good company if the customers are happily repeating and shopping with the brand. I emphasize the importance of repeats, and if the customers are happily repeating and shopping with the brand, it is a acknowledgement of a good company being a good brand which has kind of developed. So I feel the future is great. We definitely will continue to expand across India, wherein we look to kind of build in 100. You're likely to see we'll touch 100 stores across India by end of FY26.
Okay.
And we'll see a lot of new products and categories that will kind of launch in the coming next few months.
Exciting. You definitely have a customer in me, so not to worry about that. Perfect. So enough. History and finance for now. Just wanted to speak about something that you and I also have a lot of commonality in, which is a lot of CFO events and community engagements. Right. I've seen you be there at a lot of community forums, talking, sharing wisdom, networking with the folks, mostly in Mumbai, and of course across India as well. But our interactions have mostly happened in Mumbai. So tell me, how does all of this happen? How are you, engaging such activities along with work, and what is it that's driving you to work more with the CFO community?
Conferences and leadership summits, in my view, it's a great way to stay connected and exchange ideas with the people in your fraternity. So I started attending conferences a few years back with this thought of connecting and getting acquainted with folks in finance and accounts function across varied industries. And later, when I used to do that, I realized, that I have my own experience in the D2C space or in small size companies, which I can share and utilize the stage to kind of network
Yeah,
with people who like to kind of understand this, how the function kind of evolves over the period of time in such companies. So, so that's how I kind of started attending those. I feel, the key to successful leadership is to build an ability to influence rather than building an ability to have authority or develop authority. And that's why I feel it's important to kind of participate in such events, because leadership and learning both are indispensable to each other. So it's always good to stay connected, exchange ideas, and network with people around. So that's the thought process which I have, and that's what kind of is leading me to kind of attend these sessions.
got it. And how's the whole CFO community, CFO network scene in India? What are your thoughts? Where do you think we should do better?
Well, I've been attending sessions since few years, and I feel the overall thing is pretty well nurtured. There are good organizations which conduct this strategic summits and CFO events. In fact, I remember Bluecopa event as well. So all of these events, help in building a good, comprehensive engagement model with the CFOs around in the community, and that is very helpful in the long way. So it's but yeah, it's important. It's very important and imperative to maintain high quality standards across all of these events, so that the ones who are attending are able to derive benefits in the form of either getting good cutting edge insights or understand the best practices in finance and accounts, and network with good quality leaders.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I mean, you caught me by surprise. We really hope do a lot of good events. 2025 is also going to house a lot of such focused events. But yeah, thank you for the words of confidence.
Pleasure.
uh, Great. So again, moving outside of finance now, totally outside of finance. Want to understand Chirag as a person outside of work, right? So, what are your interests? What do you enjoy doing outside of work?
Uh, so now it's some. I mean, now it's been like a mix of. So I follow Indian cricket, by the way, a lot.
Okay.
So if there is anything to catch up around that over the weekend is something which I do, and then it's there are the social commitments and gatherings that we kind of get into
Hmm.
uh, with families now and friends. So that's how the life has been of late. Yeah.
What's the oldest memory that you have of? Have you gone to a lot of Indian matches live, and do you have any oldest memory of that?
Yeah. So a lot of so I've been a huge fan of Indian cricket team, and yeah, so I do follow a lot of. I mean, I typically make it a point to visit for matches if there is a free time available. So the last World Cup, which was in India, the ODI World Cup, I was touring along with the team for almost all the matches or Indian matches,
Oh, how important.
4 or 5 of them,
Yeah.
uh, and it was great fun. Yeah, it was great fun until the last final match in Ahmedabad.
Let's not go there. Got it, got it. And do you also play the sport? Find some time to do that?
I do, but now the thing is, I mean, I do play, but I now the frequency of that has kind of now
Come
gone
on.
down as you kind of have grown on in age. So, but yeah, I do play that. Yeah,
Yeah, but Mumbai cars can't resist playing cricket. So it's,
that's
I mean,
true.
all of India, but Mumbai more specifically.
Yeah, that's true.
Got it. Got it. Great. So, Chirag, I also wanted to pick your brains on a slightly futuristic topic, right? This is something that I speak with all my speakers with, which is about the future of AI in finance, especially with all the AI agents coming in and sort of replacing a lot of redundant tasks that the finance teams hold. Uh, so let me phrase this in a better way, right? In a world where the whole finance operations efforts are going through a major overhaul, from manual efforts to AI agents and so on. So, what are your takes on the future of office of CFO as well as the future of finance operations as a space?
Yeah. Uh, I feel that the AI is going to be kind of playing an important role not only in finance and accounts but across all kind of functions that we are seeing around us. Definitely, it will have a great role to play, and it has great opportunities in place as well in the
Mhm.
finance and accounts space, because a lot of automation will take place with that, with AI being the enabler for that. Uh, you have already seen a good kind of automation happening in several functions of finance and accounts, be it payables, receivables, invoicing, or in the form of invoicing or in reconciliation and validation of invoices. A lot of automation already has taken place, and I feel AI revolution is likely to bring in a lot of opportunities across the finance and accounts landscape. At the same time, it's going to be very important to implement these tools of automation wisely and in compliance with the regulations,
Yeah,
uh, because you can otherwise it can go up for a toss. Uh, but there's a lot of fear in minds of the people around the finance and accounts, and where they feel that their jobs are endangered with
yeah,
this. But I just feel that's not the way to look at it. You know, I I love giving them the example of how things have transformed in sports. To give you an instance, if you talk about F1 car racing,
yeah,
back in 90s, when you seen the car which used to go for the pit stop,
yeah,
there was a good size of team which was working on that car, and it used to take around over 10 seconds.
yeah.
Uh, and if you look at the same pit stop today, you see the car is now able to move out within 2 seconds.
Correct.
The lot of reasons for that. The entire the car, the dynamics of the car has changed, where the refueling aspect has kind of now been carved out. But the point which I want to make here is that the overall time has kind of now gone down significantly, but the number of resources that are now required. So now, if you look at the crew member size, which was attending the car in the pit stop, has almost doubled, or even it has gone up beyond that.
Yeah,
So while the technology has helped bring down the time frame and has also eased down all of the requirements, but the number of people that are required has gone up.
yeah,
So that's what I feel will happen across all fields. Let's take cricket for instance. The support staff that is kind of traveling along with the team today has gone up significantly.
yep,
Data is involved, a lot of analysis is done today. You see a lot of analysis around bowling speed, angle and release of the ball, everything that's there available to us. But all of this requires a dedicated team map or to kind of track and address. So so job opportunities or employment opportunities will just kind of come up. I mean, will just grow, I feel, along with this. The only thing is, what is going to happen is that it will enhance the work level
yeah,
in finance and accounts as well. It will enhance the work level for finance professionals, because a lot of your routine work will now get automated.
yep,
And but the only thing is that the resource will need to take care of is to ensure that they are upskilling their talent and
yeah.
focusing on higher value activities, which will help benefit the organization as well as to the overall profile of that particular resource.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed. I think that's very well put. This is something a lot of other CFOs have also been telling. In fact, Samba sir, who came in the previous episodes, he told me pretty much the same thing. That if AI is going to replace a lot of things, I will have better storytellers in my team. Which seemed like a very great way to put this, right, because at the end of the day, CFOs being master storytellers is absolutely essential for the board, for the company, for the rest of the team, as well as the external audience who are looking into them, because the only person who can marry numbers to a very compelling story or a growth story is the finance leader, right? So that way, making if AI is going to help me create more storytellers, I'm really happy is what he said, and I think I resonated well with both your point and his. So that way, yeah. Great. And with regards to CFOs, do you see any sort of trend emerging uh, with AI, without AI, either way?
Uh, I feel, one of the most important thing is now going to be for the CFOs is going to be just not being agile, but along with agility, also bringing adaptability,
Hmm.
which is already we are seeing a lot of transformation happening, and that's one of the important aspect. I feel, adaptability is going to be an important aspect to kind of ensure that transformation is carried out across the finance and accounts function by the CFO as well as across the organization, because CFO is also going to take care of the organization beyond finance and accounts as well. So I think adoption of automation tools and modern tech to keep up the increased importance of compliance is going to be a key factor. And along with this, I think it's going to be important to ensure that you are retaining talent and upskilling the talent so that something just what we discussed, the AI tools and the modern tools can be effectively be utilized to augment the automation process.
Right.
That's going to be, I think, an important thing in the one of the important trend which I think will kind of set in. Also, apart from this, I think sustainability is going to be key. So to building sustainable practices is going to be a key focus of the CFO, because ESG and sustainability is gaining a lot of prominence, and
Correct.
I think ESG will just continue to build its stature. But I strongly believe in sustainability, because sustainability is no longer about doing less harm, but it's
Yeah.
all about doing more good.
Correct.
So that's something which is going to be a critical thing, and I think CFOs will have to play a very balancing act around sustainability, ESG, and
Correct. And
that's something that we,
especially with India being in its growth phase, right? Particularly about India, uh, there is a heavy chance that we might focus on the so-called shortcut and leave sustainability out of the picture, right? So it's essential that all the companies and the leadership take sustainability as a core value, core principle while building a business, getting profitable, and so on. So very well put.
yeah. I mean, a company is only a good company if it has the people which are good, which it keeps.
Yeah,
So, and it's important that you kind of penetrate this aspect of sustainability right from top to bottom.
true that, true that. In fact, there was one more insight that particularly intrigued me is a lot of CFOs have started taking up workshops and courses on modern technologies, AI, ML, and so on. Just make them familiar while brainstorming with the team on how do we better transform the organization. So now finance transformation, there's no way you can do it without talking about AI or robust, complex data processes in place. So CFOs really want to be a part of the conversation and offer a lot of value. So I see more such leaders taking up courses and workshops in that front.
True. I agree. Yeah, that's. I think it's going to be a very important thing when you'll see a lot of such things kind of emanating in coming coming period, because that's the way I think the landscape will emerge uh, uh, in future.
Perfect, great. Great. So those were the questions I had. So thank you so much for taking the time, Chirag.